Yeah,
the Scatman.
Yeah, he's that guy. It's the same guy. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are and probably should. Wait, no.
Yeah,
But
you had it right.
Hope you're drinking with us, and that's why we like you. So, this week on Chill Filter, we are drinking Abbott and Wallace. It is a Colorado. In this particular case, we were drinking their Colorado Straight Rye. But they're from Longmont. We won't get into the history yet, but we'll get into it a little bit. Before I get to anything else, let's talk about some business. Hit us up on Instagram and tell your friends to hit us up on Instagram.
All your friends.
Yeah. Tell all your friends. Taking Back Sunday. And that's all I got for this week. And honestly, don't just let that go in one ear and go out the other. Talk to your friends about hitting us up on Instagram. So friends don't let friends not hit up Chill Filtered on Instagram. Otherwise, Robbie, I know it's a big week for you. We're recording a little early.
We are very early.
Reason. How is everything going? What's on the horizon?
Oh boy, I tell you. So it's right now I'm in like the pre-vacation purgatory. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Where we have a couple of dogs. So we have Moose and Bo, which you're all familiar with.
The old Moose and Bo.
Yeah, I just came back from the park with the girls, and Moose and Bo got into a couple of small bags of Doritos chips, so they're probably gonna have diarrhea tonight and pooping little tin foil out baggies along the way. So we have the dogs, and that means when you go out of town, you got to have someone come stay at your house to watch the dogs because you don't want to take your dog who is gonna have poopy tinfoil diarrhea to someone else's house, right? So it's in that purgatory where it's like you just can't do much other than to be presentable. And then on top of that, our guest room is in the girls' playroom and the bonus room. So I'm just trying to organize. And it's typical for summer, Robbie. Like as soon as summer hits, I'm like, okay, first I want to just organize some things, get the house in order, and then we'll have fun. So I'm just kind of stuck in that spot where I'm just trying to get as much stuff taken care of around the house so that we can leave on Friday morning, like super early. And get this vacation to Mexico underway. So I'm like, yeah. But Cole, hit a few snags.
Oh, yeah?
Are we ready to get down with the sickness?
Ooh, I feel like is other members of your family
this is like, sick? I feel like this is becoming a recurring segment lately. It was like,
who's sick?
No, I think I've got a sinus infection. So, but we've got some antibiotics that we're going to start taking in Mexico in case
it's too bad you're not coming to Virginia because Virginia is known to be the antibiotic state. So
Virginia is for antibiotics.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that. But Chelsea's brother and our sister-in-law John and Danae came down with COVID this weekend. And so we were only over there for a little bit. We didn't hang out with either of them. We hung out with the boys. And Chelsea's mom lives in the same house with them and babysits the girls. So I'm like, part of me thinks we had COVID and we just didn't get tested. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it's a window. Like you've got to test in the perfect window to be like, oh, I'm positive.
That's what I've seen. It's like late. It's always like super late. I mean, I might have had it last week. I got tested 3 times and was negative, but who knows? I might still have had it. You know?
So anyway, we're kind of banking on the fact, I think we probably had it because it's just you all have been on the listening and you've been down with our sickness.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, we're just kind of bated breath, hoping
that's
no one else really comes down with anything. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. But yeah, just getting ready. Dude, I gotta tell you, I'm kind of ready. I'm ready to have a drink. It's summer. Spent the morning kind of just organizing and cleaning. Took the girls to the park for a little bit just now. We've got the big inflatable pool filling up in the backyard because the girls were too hot at the park. And they want to drink some lemonades in their pool. They said, Dad, can we drink lemonade in the pool? And Dad said, as long as you shut up when Daddy's recording. Throw a little something in our lemonade.
Take it with
us. That's another thing, Cole. I've wanted next time we're together. Oh, look at you with your national shirt on.
Wearing my national shirt.
sometime when we're together, I'm gonna do a national date based off that. I'm gonna go pick some apples, make some pies.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Put
a little double date.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Lemonade. And take it with us.
That's a great album. I think that's my favorite album. That's the Boxer album.
My favorite national album is whatever album I'm listening to at the moment.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, like, it's like, I would agree.
I didn't like their most
Boxer is
recent
pretty
one,
great.
though.
We
The
saw
one with the girl laying down, not the one with the girl with the mirror laying down.
No.
The other one with the girl laying down.
So we saw that. So that's the thing, is like, wasn't a huge fan of it. We saw, I think that's the one that came out just before COVID, right?
I think so, or at least within the past year,
something like that. And then so we saw them play that live.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like when you see it live, you're like, oh, that's the kicker right there. And it was an amazing show. It was like in this amphitheater in Ogden, which we're going to go see him again in August. Yes. In Ogden? But it was like, in Ogden, in August. But
it's like seeing live or the national.
And in the middle of the show, in the middle of the show, like it just started like getting really windy and then rain started pouring down. It was like, it was a pretty epic show.
That's cool.
So the album is kind of like, that's when the first time I saw him was at Red Rocks with you guys.
Hey-o,
and I was not a huge fan.
I got this shirt.
I was like not a huge fan at that point. Like Matt Berenger, like to me, it feels like anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And then I neglected him. We saw him live. I'm like, oh my gosh, this whole band is super talented.
Seriously, like talk about a what do you call it? Like a super band. They are, and even like just like you talked to me before, and I mentioned this one time that like I at first didn't think the drummer was like that talented, but the longer I've like known him, I'm like, dude, he is perfect for like that style, and like he fits the vibe perfectly. And
like, oh, he had like I think I mentioned on the podcast. Was it Love Buzz, Ohio? What was that song called?
Yeah, Blood Buzz. Yeah.
Blood Buzz. He like I saw a video of him with just a snare, a hi-hat, and a kick, and he played that, and it was like, I don't know how you get so complicated but so simple.
So simple, but like
so good.
It's complicated. Yeah, exactly.
And the Desners are great. And then like once I started, once I got deeper into the lyrics, I'm like, Matt's a good lyricist for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
great band. Yeah, and that's the funny thing is you mentioned that like you didn't love them until you saw them live. That was Heather actually as well.
Yes, I remember both her and I were both like,
and Chelsea. Yeah,
we're the big fans.
Both the national.
So like Heather and I were like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And do you remember what we pre-gamed on? What we
pre-gamed with 291 cask strength bourbon?
Yeah, we did. And I was not a big whiskey guy at the time, so I just drank mine with Coke.
But now you're a small whiskey guy.
I'm a teeny tiny whiskey guy.
Speaking of concerts and excitement for the week, last week, since the last episode, Jimmy Eat World announced a tour, and they're coming through Richmond.
A what?
A tour. A tour.
Oh, a tour.
Yeah, no.
They're going to tour.
No, they're touring.
A tour is when you get a couple of 2-ply off and wipe your booty. That's what you do. You tour it off.
No, chewer is like drinking dewars. But anyway, they're coming, and actually, so here's the funniest, or not the funniest, the coolest part about Jimmy Eat World coming through Richmond. My second date I ever had with Heather, before I was like fully convinced that like this was an awesome girl, which she was always awesome, but I was just like, we'll see. Second date, it was right after that date that I was like, I think I'm sold on this girl. But we got to see Jimmy Eat World at the National in Richmond, which is the venue.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're coming back. I hope to like hold the sign up or something like second date. And now we're married 9 years or something like that.
And Jim will be like, come up on stage. Just sit up here.
Dude, that'd be the best. He would too.
Oh, Jim Atkins.
Jim Atkins.
So funny thing. Last day of school without kids, I'm walking by the art and theater department, and I hear, gosh, what song? Oh, it's Chris Carrabba, Dashboard Confessionals playing. I'm like,
nice.
As I pop into the drama teacher's room, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard these guys in forever. He's like, oh yeah, I just got my whole playlist here. It's like super emo. Like he was like Mr. Fritzley. He's a very
is he a millennial?
Yeah, I would think so. But anyway, he's like very country right now. Like every time he posts something, it's got a lot of country music to it.
Nice.
He does like backwood rescue stuff.
Oh,
Really
cool.
cool guy, super cool guy. Anyway, we went down this
Emo
spiral.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, rabbit hole. So we were just talking all about stuff. And so anyway, did you ever listen to Hope's Fall?
No, but I heard of them. Yeah.
Gosh. So Hope's Fall, then I started that's like all I've been working out to lately. It was just like emo stuff. But Hope's Fall was Chelsea and I went to a show, and we were like probably like 10 people there, and they were amazing. I love them. And on the way home, I remember calling Chelsea, and we just talked about the show the entire way. And when I got to my house, I was like, I don't want to stop talking to her. And it was the Hope's Fall concert where I realized I got asked her to be my wife.
Nice.
So, yeah, similar vein.
I love that. Yeah, it was right after the Jimmy concert. I was like, I think this girl is worth
the one.
At least the funny thing is people ask me like, did you ever doubt that you were going to marry her? And I never did, not a day in my life. But I never was. I couldn't say like I was like from day one I was like going to marry her, but there was never any doubt of progress as things went on. I was like, nope, things are great, things are awesome, I love her. And but there was a
go turn the hose off.
Yeah, I never got to a point where I was like, I questioned anything. That's really what it was. But some people are like, did you know you were gonna marry her right away? I'm like, no, I was just gonna try it out. But there was never a point where I hesitated, I guess.
I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I remember I didn't want to date Chelsea because I knew and actually after the Hope's Fall, that's when I was like, she's gonna be my girlfriend, because I didn't want her to be my girlfriend, because I knew if she was gonna be my girlfriend, I was gonna she was gonna be the one I was gonna marry. And that was a huge thing I had to play in my head. Like, are you ready to get married? Is she ready to get married? So I know what you're saying. Yeah. That point of commitment. I was like, I'm not playing around with this one.
Yeah.
And I realized,
no, it's and the concerts that bring us together, So,
well, how are you doing, Cole? You're in study mode, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. How did you know that? Did I say that last week?
Yeah, because I asked you.
Oh,
you said you're gonna start studying, and I just asked you why we're recording so early.
Yeah, so I don't have to drive home anymore. During the end of the day, I got to drive home half day so I could study. So my what do you call it? My commute is different on Tuesdays, and so we're recording right about when I get off normally. And so I study a few hours on my half days off. It used to be that I just study a little bit every day during the workday at my last company, but here apparently it's kind of interesting that you have to take a half or a full day to study, and you can only take so many. You could take 10 full days or 20 half days. So my exam's coming up in 4 or 5 months. So I'm just taking half days until the exam. So that's been good. Actually, it's such a hard thing to transition into study life. It's kind of depressing in a sense. But the good news is I've kind of hit the ground running already. And it's kind of life now. Whether it's my study day or not, I get home from work and I study. At least for an hour or so, and that's the actuary life. But
hashtag actuary life.
Yeah, exactly. With the LYFE life to make it a little jazzy. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha. Skiddly bop doop.
Yep, exactly. And you know what I was listening to the other day?
What were you
ever heard of Scatman John?
I don't know about that. I've heard of Soundgarden. No, who's this? No, that's
it's
Spoon Man.
90s,
Scatman.
Yeah,
I'm the Scatman.
Yeah, he's that guy. It's the same guy. Yeah. So I was listening to that the other day. Exactly. Anyway, enough of Scatman John.
I love how we could so quickly make this the worst episode ever.
This might be the best episode, Robbie.
Oh, okay, all right.
But someone like Bryce Marina is gonna be like Scatman John, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. I love Bryce's.
Speaking of Bryce
comments, they're so good.
Bryce and Miles both hitting us up.
Yeah.
Did you start watching Stranger Things yet?
Me? No.
Start season 4. Just start it.
I think Heather might want to, so maybe you have a chance.
Dude, it is definitely much more in the horror. It is, yeah. It's kind of like oh gosh, what's Pinhead on? I can't remember that, but like it gets like 80s. Like, there's a lot of 80s horror nods for sure. It's good. I think you'll like it, Cole. And like, but the crazy thing is, like, I was talking to Bryce about this. There's 7 episodes in this, so it's a 2 parts. There was the first half right now, and like every episode right now is like an hour and a half long, and it's enthralling and it's great. Give it a Cole. You know what I did this week? I started watching Peaky Blinders again.
Oh, if you watch Peaky Blinders
I've
again,
downloaded
from the beginning?
No, just from where we left off. So I'm like on season 3 right now. And I downloaded all of the Darks to finish the Darks.
Ooh, okay. If you do that, I will highly consider watching season 4 of Stranger Things then.
I think it's worth it. I mean, like, because you were kind of like, it's too cartoony. It's too nostalgia focused, too cute. Yeah. This season is not super cute.
Okay, cool.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
And you don't really
it was just like, from watching it before, it was just like, it was more like I could see middle schoolers watching this more than I could. But yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, I think you got to. Anyway, I hijacked that. Anything? So you were listening to the Scatman.
I don't even remember why I brought the Scatman up. Oh, because you were doing some like when I mentioned something. Oh, like life. Hashtag actuary life with a LYFE. Anyway, that's complete digression, but full circle, just roundabout. Otherwise, yeah, life's good. I don't want to sound this. I might be getting a new car. I'm not going to mention what kind of car it is because it's kind of like a little bit of a brag. But
is it a Toyota Sienna like I drive? Because
it's the Toyota. Wasn't there like before the Sienna? There was another Toyota, like the
minivan. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I just joined the minivan life. So here's the crazy thing. I've been on the dock. I've been driving the minivan since 2012. And so we're coming up on 10, like been 10 years now. And so we've been looking like Chelsea's like when we retire the minivan, like in 10 years when we bought it, like you can get whatever you want because you're driving a minivan.
Nice.
But now with the way gas prices are and like just inflation is, I'm like, I might be driving a minivan for 20 years.
A lot of SUVs and stuff actually have decent mileage these days. They're not what they used to
be. The minivan, so our minivan's all-wheel drive, so it doesn't get, I mean, it gets like 19, which is not horrible, but it's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm like, we've been looking at 4Runners and Ford F-150 previous to this. But,
nice.
But I'm kind of putting like, you know what? Like, you can buy a heck of a lot of gas for a car payment.
Yeah.
So I think I'm stuck.
What you should do is just buy a car's worth of money of gas, let it go up a little higher,
sell it,
and then sell it all, and then buy a better car.
Yeah. Did you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I think they did that. Yeah,
they did that one. Yeah, and they're putting it in garbage bags and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So you're gonna tell us?
I haven't watched that in a while, but I only watched like 2 or 3 seasons or maybe 2 seasons of it. And I didn't like, I would just, usually when I was making jewelry, I would either watch Seinfeld, Always Sunny, Scrubs, or now I'm watching How I Met Your Mother. And so I phased out of Always Sunny for a little bit, and I probably need to go back soon because it's hilarious.
Dude, it's so irreverent. And
it's
so spot on.
That's a good way to put it.
So what kind of car are you looking at, man? You can brag.
Okay, I'm gonna brag a little bit, but here's the thing: is that I'm
not
like,
I mean, yeah,
I'm
not
like
like
rich, I'm not loaded, I'm not
minivan.
anything. My in-laws have a salvage yard, and this car came through as a salvaged vehicle, as a theft recovery salvage vehicle, which means probably minimal to no damage. And at a fraction, not a fraction, but like a good chunk off of what you would normally spend for a used car. So I have coming my way in the next week or so a 2020 Audi A4.
Oh, nice.
So I'm really excited about that.
Well, you're driving a Caddy right now, right?
Yeah, but it is, and that's great. But the Caddy is 15 years old now, so it's about time we kind of phase that one out and take on a new one. But yeah, I live the luxury life. My first legit car was a Lexus. My next one was a BMW, and then I got the Cadillac, and now I got an Audi. So They kind of kept an eye out for me. They're like, if any cool luxury cars come through the lot that are like worth restoring or worth, taking off the lot, then we'll keep
Actuary LYFE.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag Actuary Liffy.
No, that's a nice perk. I think that is so like one perk of being a teacher, I get summers off. But another perk is like I kind of counselors and principals watch out for other teachers and like, okay, so tell us, like, is there a teacher you want to have? What kind of schedule we want to set up for your kid? So that's nowhere near driving a luxury car is kind of a thing, but you gotta take advantage of some of the perks,
Yeah.
Got the salvage yard.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody stole a car.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve is listening right now going, my A4 got stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
And Cole's driving it, so take that, Mitzel prick.
Oh yeah. That's funny. Anyway. No, yeah. So I'm really excited, and nice. And it's funny because I've only owned like cars that are at least 8 years old. So having a car that's only 2 or so years old is going to be pretty cool.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
You know what you're not going to need after you get this car?
What's that?
And we should take full advantage of right now.
A nice brisk walk.
A brisk walk, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go take a walk.
Let's take my last walk before I start doing walks in the Audi. Here we go. And we're back.
Oh, yeah, we are.
We, like I said, we are drinking Abbott and Wallace Colorado Straight Rye Whiskey from, what's the city? I was about to say Loveland, but it's not. It is
Copper?
What the heck? Oh, Longmont. Come on, Cole. I just wrote the whole history. So... Yeah, but before I get into the whiskey and what we're drinking today, really quick notes. We are about to send out the couriered samples for the next 3 months of Chill Filter Drink Along. So keep an eye out on Patreon for those who are on Patreon already. And if you'd like to be a part of future drink alongs, reach out to us or hit us up on Patreon at patreon.com/chillfiltered and sign up for the $10 tier or more. We got some great options over the next 3 months going down. We have an ADHD whiskey, Nulu rye pick. We have Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batch A122. And then we have John J. Bowman Single Barrel Bourbon. So we're going to be drinking those on YouTube Live. If you'd like to drink along with us and be able to get some couriered samples, patreon.com. So what we're drinking today, Abbott and Wallace Colorado Straight Rye Whiskey. This is for sure our first Abbott and Wallace product on the podcast, but it is not our first Longmont Colorado whiskey product on the podcast. We recently drank Copper Sky's 16-year-old light whiskey. That was episode 197. But let's talk about Abbott and Wallace a little bit. Sadly, there's a recurring theme with these smaller micro distilleries that there's not a lot of information on them, on their website at least. And I wish I had a little more time to reach out to the distiller, but we had to record a little earlier this week. So I didn't want to give them like a few hours notice. But that being said, I did collect a decent amount of history. And I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of the history of Abbott and Wallace. So fun fact about the distillery is that they used to be called Long Tucky spirits. And that's because basically it's Longmont in Kentucky. It's just the blend of those two things. So, but it's funny. I lived in Colorado for at least 4 years. And I don't know if I ever was in Longmont. It's kind of the perfect spot between Boulder, Denver, and Fort Collins. But it's also a cool like micro town, and I don't mean that like the size of the town, even though it's not a huge town, but it is. It's got a lot of like local micro breweries and such like that, like micro distilleries. One of those small cities where everything is like kind of in the community in that way and like local, which I can dig. Based on my research, they started up their location in Longmont in 2017. And maybe I'd be wrong with that, but that is what my research led me to. They changed their name about a year or two ago, according to their website. They did this because, quote, Abbott and Wallace represents our past and our future while maintaining our family and human roots. It's a little vague to change your name. We did it because of this. And I'm like, what does that have to do with your name? I don't know. Part of me was like, did they like change ownership or something? But I know they didn't based on what I saw.
I think the human roots is interesting.
Yeah.
Was
like
that
humans don't have roots.
Oh.
They're aliens.
What kind of humans are these?
Mm-hmm. They're straight up aliens. So, from what I'm seeing, yeah, it doesn't look like there was a change of ownership.
What was the whiskey that didn't go to space?
The Ardbeg Supernova?
Yeah, but this whiskey was made by people from space.
Whoa. Could be. Coloradans, man.
Humans with roots.
Humans with roots.
The humanoid tree species from outer space at Abbott Wallace.
Like reptilians, but like tree-tillians.
Arbortillions.
Yep. So started by two guys, still co-owned, best friends.
Oh,
John Abbott Young and Howard, also known as HK Wallace. They grew up in Florida, and but they transplanted to Colorado not too long after college, it sounds like. They started the distillery after John's father, I think it was John's father, and Howard's mother. They passed away around 10 or so years ago, and they said, you know, we're gonna let our parents' spirits be in our spirits. So hopefully they're not like blending in ashes or anything into the spirit itself, but you never know these days. Anyway, years later, they're still going after what they said they were after at first, not just the parent spirit part, but they were building community and showing hospitality. And that's kind of what it looks like. It seems like a really cool small distillery with a lot of community focused events and a lot of just community focus in general. Using their own, like literally their own handmade by themselves copper stills. They personally distill a few spirits, including rum, bourbon, gin, and Amaro, and some other stuff. Not Amara. Yeah.
Wow.
And even got into the canned cocktails business a little bit based on their own in-house spirits. So they everything they make is their own. I got this bottle about a year or two ago from Veterans Liquor in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Shout out to Brent and Justin. So let's talk about the exact spirit we're drinking today, the Colorado Straight Rye Whiskey. It is a straight rye, so we can assume no additives and a minimum age of, 2 years, but no age statement otherwise. But I can assume it's probably on the lower end of 2 years-ish. The rye grain itself was grown about 5 miles from the distillery at Schlagel Farms. It's called a Roostuk rye, something like that.
I'd like to think that the whole thing was the name. A Rostock rye.
That would be a cool band name.
Rostock.
Yeah, that would be like a Scandinavian metal band. But the corn is also from that same farm. Otherwise, the remainder of what is in this, what we're drinking today. What's that?
Corn with a K. Speaking of metal bands.
Speaking of, metal bands. Speaking of scat. It all comes full circle. Otherwise, the remainder is the malted barley, and it's called Root Shoot, like a farm that was like
Riot.
Root Shoot. And that's out of, Zoot Suit Riot.
Root
barley.
Shoot Riot.
Grapefruit Diet. That's the
Weird Al one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was supposed to see Weird Al last night.
What?
Yeah, didn't I mention that?
No.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
You might have.
Then my brother-in-law got COVID, and then everybody else backed out, and I was like, well, just stay home and clean.
He's freaking Weird Al. You gotta go. He's not gonna tour much longer.
I would have been. He's not gonna what?
He's not gonna tour much longer.
Did I mention like Weird Al was how I was allowed to listen to music that was not offensive?
On the radio? Oh, nice.
Like that's how I like my mom. Whenever I bought a CD or was going, I buy the CD. Then my mom would read the lyrics in the lyric book, and that would determine whether I could keep it or not. So I already had to buy it, and then it had to pass the test.
Oh dang! And then it had to be screened.
Yeah. So Weird Al was how I like.
A local boy kicked me in the butt last week. I just smiled at him and I turned the other cheek. I really don't care. In fact, I wish him well because I'll be laughing my head off when he's burning. And so there you go, Mom. Read that a lyric from Weird Al. And but did you get that album, the Amish Paradise song album?
No, by that point, my mom gave up.
That's good. It's good for her to give up. Because
you gotta listen to music. I'm still trying to spread my wings, but she let me spread them a little bit about that time. So
you didn't get melted by the sun though. So anyway,
Icarus by Hope's Fall. Listen to that song.
Ooh,
yeah, full circle. Boom.
Yeah, seriously, we're full of that today. Yep. So
we're usually full of it.
Yeah, the malted barley is from Loveland, Colorado, not too far. 40 cut to 47%, also 94 proof, using El Dorado spring water, which is a Colorado thing as well. So total wine price is $55. I'm gonna put down my shout out to Ben Klepsig for providing my entry buzz today, and actually I know Robbie as well. But I am drinking the tequila he sent, the extra.
Because I'm finally drinking that porter, that beer he sent, the Tyriana anniversary.
I think
series.
It's Tyranina.
Tyranina. Sarina.
Yep. So cork pop today.
Delicious porter.
It's gonna be a hollow one. I'm like, I might not even have enough to do a full out review. And it's got an interesting black cork.
Synthetic cork.
Yes, very synthetic. It's hard to get black cork. Otherwise.
Synthetic cork. That sounds like a genre of music in itself.
It sounds like a genre of Irish whiskey.
All right, here we go. But Ben, thank you for the beer. I finally I hadn't had an entry buzz. I grabbed that. I feel like I just had breakfast, like a full-on second breakfast, Hobbit style. That's a full-bodied beer.
Yeah, I didn't leave much in the bottle left, and it sadly has been chilling in the bottle for a little bit now. But hopefully oxidation hasn't taken its toll too bad. All right, nose notes thus far. It's a little young. It's a note that I'm getting.
I'm getting berries.
I can get a little berries. I'm getting cinnamon too.
That was managed in high school.
Soapiness a little bit too that I can get from like small barrels. Not sure what kind of barrels they're using.
Yeah, I'm getting berries. It's a nice sweet. I'm not getting young. I'm not getting soapy.
Okay, good.
I'm just little berries. Mm-hmm. What's the proof on it again?
94 proof. So just above 45, 47%.
I would have thought a little bit higher proof, but it's all right.
Yeah, I don't love the nose. But the cinnamon notes are nice. We'll see how this goes with cinnamon.
You getting cinnamon?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say that already?
I did.
Did I miss? I missed that. I was focused on digressions. That's what I focus on. That's my specialty.
Okay. So while you sip, I'll talk about this palate. There's good and bad. The finish is decent. The finish is a nice sweetness with that cinnamony. It's kind of like fades to a nice cinnamony. Yeah. Now the front of the palate's not amazing for me. I'm getting that same small barrel taste, and maybe they don't have small barrels. Maybe I'm just making this up. Maybe it's all in my head. But I'm kind of getting a speed aged kind of taste to it, which can bring out some soapy vibes. But the finish is great. That's one thing I'll say. Good finish compared to that. I got to take a little extra sip.
I like this. It's really light. It's not super viscous on the palate, super light on the palate. but I'm definitely getting the cinnamon now.
Mm.
But a thing is really, it is really light. Now, when do I want to drink rye? I want to drink rye in the summer, or not summertime. It's summertime right now. When do I want to drink rye? In the winter, yeah, right. But this is kind of like a summertime rye. It's super light, got a little bit of that cinnamon. Kind of refreshing, to be honest. Like
I'm not getting those like refreshing or light, to be honest.
Well, like the viscosity sitting like it's. I mean, nothing's really. I don't know. I am drinking a porter, which I don't normally drink in the summertime either. So
and it's a hot porter too. What is it? Yeah, like 12%.
Speaking of hot porters, shout out Matt.
Shout out to Matt. Bud? Wink.
Hey, yep. Those sweater vests.
Check out ADHD Whiskey on YouTube.
Yeah,
and you'll find your very own hot porter.
So like, I still nose wise, I get berries and I get a little bit of that cinnamon and a little florally. I don't know. This is nice. Like this is kind of like a summertime rye, I would say, compared to drinking a heavy porter.
This, when I first poured a few drops of water in here, it was not great smell. It was kind of amplified that soapy note and the too oaky and stuff like that. But now it's smelling a lot better. I haven't sipped it yet, but it kind of cooled down in a good way.
I don't know. Like, okay, so is soapiness a typical note people get from small barrels, or is that just
what I get?
Thing? That's what
you
it's
get. More me.
It's kind of like soapiness
oaky,
is
over oaky, a little bit of soap.
So I got a little bit of oak on my second sip there. But oakiness is to Cole as latex is to Robby.
Maybe.
I don't know.
One thing I'll say is with the water I just sipped it's about the same to me, to be honest. It brings out a little bit different, brighter notes, but still I'm not like super enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, I've had a lot worse. I'm not saying this is like terrible. I'm just saying not my cup of tea typically. But I will say that there's no bitter, there's no nothing like that. It's just other notes that I'm not enjoying. Yeah. But hey, you're keeping it good in that way. So
I will say like there's a fair amount of florals. So I kind of like this. To me it's a little bit of a unique rye where it's it's not super spicy. You don't get that typical rye spice, but you get some of that cinnamon that I like in a rye. But it's really light. I do get some of the floral. I like floral. I know you're not always a huge fan of floral.
It can go either way sometimes, but yeah, not normally my favorite notes.
Gosh, I probably should have like a bubbly water here to cleanse my palate. Maybe I will say that might be part of the problem, because I still have a little bit of that porter on my buds here, I think. So
yeah. I am gonna drop a cube.
But like I think there's no bitterness, there's nothing unpleasant. Unless like kind of like where you're going, where you don't like the soapy, maybe micro distiller kind of thing.
It's more micro barrels. I think some micros can pull it off. We've seen,
yeah. All right. Oh. I'm so glad my wife doesn't listen, because I forgot to put my ice on a coaster.
Oh, yeah, mine is sweating hard over here, more than usual. It's kind of humid out here.
What are you talking about there, Cole?
You're like, and then you talked about your whiskey. No, I'm talking about my non-coastered ice jar.
Fire in the hole.
Similar notes on the nose. Kind of like I'm getting a lot less cinnamon, and a lot more oak, to be honest.
Hold on. Down with the sickness.
I think I didn't have too much whiskey in here to give it I had probably a little too high on the ice to whiskey ratio. It's just, I feel like I can't give it a true rating because it's a little too diluted. Because there's not much there I'm getting, at least on this pour. Sadly, I poured the last of my bottle too. So,
bottle kill LYFE. Skidoo-bop-up-doop.
Hashtag YOLO.
Man, I feel like YOLO is one of the hashtags that probably should have stuck around.
It should have. But then COVID happened.
And
then people were like, no, people living, not living no
millions of people.
Yeah. You only live until you die.
Yeah. You only die once.
Yep, exactly.
Y-O-D-O.
Mm-hmm.
You only die once. Unless you're the great Jesus.
Well, he died once.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
so
what's
did he live twice? Is the question.
What's the guy that
Lazarus?
Lazarus died twice.
Yeah, he did. And he lived twice. You could argue.
Y-O-T-T. Y-O-T-T. Well, no, you only live.
You only
Y-O-L.
Yolt.
I suck at making acronyms in my head. All right, back to the whiskey. Is this a whiskey podcast? I don't dig the ice. I think some of what you're it's a little oaky. I can see like if I equate oaky with soapy. I see what you're saying. Like it is ice kind of brings that out. A little bit of the floral, a little bit of berry. It kind of not much there, but it does bring out a weird oaky note.
I think I have hope for some company like Abbott and Wallace because they are doing things their own and they are building up their inventory and building up their skills. I would easily try more Abbott and Wallace stuff without hesitation. I'm not going to rate this one super high though. It's just a little too oaky, a little too young. That being said, I do respect them. And I encourage them to keep making good stuff and continue to grow and continue to age things. And I would recommend if you're not using large barrels, then maybe I'm right and maybe it's noticeable. But do you make sure you do you? So that's what I got to say.
I would say if you ever want to get a great review on this show, triple the size of your barrels.
Triple. What? Why stop there?
Septuple?
Yeah.
Cole, you done
7
lost
times.
Your mind.
Yeah. Just get a big barrel and age it for extra long. So
just pour your whiskey over a grove of oak trees.
Yeah.
Set fire
and
to
let it sink into the ground, dig a hole, and drink that beautiful groundwater. It's like a whiskey well.
In the whiskey well.
Well,
What kind of grade do you have for this whiskey? What kind of rating you got, Cole?
I'm going to go 5.8 here. It's sadly kind of low, but it gives them. I still leave room for, you know what? It is a rye. It's obvious it's a rye. It's decent product. Not up my alley. I could see it being up a lot of people's alley though. So 5.8 here.
Well, I hope it never
showed
goes
up your alley, Robbie.
Okay, you're lower than me for sure. I've been enjoying it. I kind of like it.
Nice.
It's I think it's got a lot of good. It is lighter. Like if you want a heavy rye, winter rye, this is probably not it. But if you like rye and it's like it is right now, it's like almost summertime. Like I feel like this is a good light rye. I'm gonna go 6.5.
Okay.
No, I feel like that's too low. I'm gonna go 6.8. 6.8.
Okay.
I wouldn't turn this down. But it may not be the first bottle I reach for. So I'm gonna go 6.8. So
I like that.
Yeah.
You can average of 6.3. So now that we've gotten our ratings down, I think it is time for the next segment of our show that we do call, and we like to call it as well.
We have
Whiskey World News.
And we're back. Cole's trying to do business on the side.
Oh, pour myself some more.
Oh, tequila. And rub his nose. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so bad introduction to the segment, but isn't that tequila delicious?
Yeah, extra añejo always wins.
Gosh, it is so yummy, and I wish I still had a little bit of a sample of it. Anyway, it's not time for tequila world news. It's time for whiskey world news. I almost said, what whiskey would you choose? Whiskey world news, part of the show where we read an article we talk about. We didn't write it. We were just talking about. And this one comes from the Whiskey Wash, which we haven't had for a while. And this comes from Steve Coombs, and it's titled, and it's kind of chastising. So hold on to your seats. If this hits you in the wrong way, it's Steve Coombs, not us. We didn't write it. We're just talking about it.
Hey, Steve, you never know.
Oh, is this the Steve? I don't think
maybe,
so, but I hope
we'll find out.
It's titled, Enough with the Whiskey Hunting. Just drink the whiskey. Let the whiskey breathe. My experience is most whiskey enthusiasts are fun and friendly, like passionate beer and wine drinkers. They come to the hobby for flavor, and when they made relationships with like-minded drinkers, things become fun, which is why we like you. But as it happened with the beer and wine cultures, whiskey fandom has now outliers, people like self-dubbed whiskey hunters, who are out for bottles, good or bad, as long as those purchases boost their egos. They fetishize over particular brands and spend inordinate hours running hither and yon. Oh my gosh, Steve Coombs, I love your style of writing. They run hither and yon to find this bottle with that match well because it is really rare. Their collections are often large, and people who assemble them are usually tedious. They can't seem to read a crowd, and that's tired of their I've been everywhere man stories of stocking Blanton's bottles for a single letter or grabbing 6 bottles of Smoke Wagon because their pals swear it's better than other MGP whiskey. Studying, buying, drinking, and sharing whiskey is a great hobby, but few things run the experience like someone chest thumping over their bottle haul. And it's not really hunting. Calling a search for a bottle of whiskey is a hunt is a stretch. Hunting is work that includes sitting out in the cold for hours, I guess they do, hoping a hapless beast steps within rifle range. I've never shot a liquor store attendant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hapless beast.
Killing is the easiest part. Field dressing and dragging it to the truck that never nears where the animal died is work. Bird hunting lacks such heavy lifting, but it requires long waits in chilly wetlands, hoping the dog will rouse some pheasants. For what it's worth, I'm not a hunter for these very reasons, but if someone kills it, I'll cook it. That's kind of like a nice little hashtag, or like a nice little brand right there. If you kill it, I'll cook it.
Yeah.
So hunters call it what it is, bourbon shopping. Apparel-free purchase of bottles on shelves in the government-licensed climate-controlled store. Getting there happens in cars with heat, AC, and cell phone chargers. Unlike hunters who dare not blink when their prey creeps near, bourbon shoppers who crank up on the stereo will never scare away bottles. Enough with the pictures. Photos of hunters and their prey have never done much for me. I'm neither offended nor grossed out, but I'm also not moved by those images. Classic photos of besotted Hemingway besides his giant dead prizes always struck me as a brutish and evidence of mostly unfair fight. But if a visual record proves of a spectacular hunt featured in the shot, made the kill, then have at it. They get awards for such things, so it's fitting. All that makes whiskey shopping pits look silly. They're silly, Cole.
They're silly.
Plopping a bottle of booze into your lap and snapping a pic with the ever seen it background of your car steering wheel implies that, well, way more should dive into there. Just stow it safely in the empty wine box in your trunk, like the rest of us. I don't care what you paid for it. It's not a holy grail. And I'm going to stop there because we kind of see where it's going. We've been there. Now, I have sent Cole plenty of
crotch shots.
Crotch shots, because that's kind of Cole's and I relationship.
Yeah,
I've never posted
to post
a
it
crotch
online.
Shot. It's just to say, dude, pick this up.
Check this out.
Yeah, I shot a whiskey store employee so I could loot the back of his store. No, that's not what it was.
Oh yeah, totally.
But Cole, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's funny. You think about what it's doing for whiskey, and it's like hurting it so much. Where these people are like, I talk to people like, because Virginia does allocated drops now, and I'll talk to these people in line, and they're like, yeah, I just got like 4 Blantons this week, and I'm like, why? like, I get it. I actually enjoy Blanton's. Do I think it's worth what people are throwing down? No. But they're just basically buying it so they could like trade it for a higher value. And it's like, dude, just drink it. Like, I'll buy a Blanton's, especially if it's got a cool like birthday on it, or like a dump date that like matches someone in my life's birthday or something like that. That's like what I enjoy about Blanton's, especially, is like the cool dump date, and it's a good juice, to be honest, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just annoying, and it's just like, I think one of the phrases used was like chest thumping, like just primitive show off, just like base level, not impressing anyone kind of stuff. And I get it, you got a big collection, but so do I. But like 95% of my bottles are open, and I enjoy what I drink, and I don't just do it to trade it or to basically just flip. And I used to sell some bottles, but then I was like, you know what? I don't even want to support this because, yeah, basically it's just amping up the prices of whiskey that is hard to find anyway. So I don't know. If you're doing that, you know, maybe you find enjoyment in it, but you're not helping a lot of people out, and you're kind of hogging all the good stuff just because you can. Maybe drink it. Yeah, I'd like to quote, or at least paraphrase, or at least pretend to quote, what's his name? Freddie Johnson from Buffalo Trace. He says, just drink it. Share it with someone who can enjoy it with you, because that's what it's all about. It's not about value. It's not about the market and like getting a higher value than you bought it at. That's so dumb. Just drink it with a good friend. Drink it with someone who can enjoy it with you. That's what whiskey's about more to me than anything else. So,
no,
that's what I like.
Absolutely agree. Now, on Blanton's, like if I can get all my letters on my ponies, I don't know if I'll buy. I'll buy, like, if I show up and I see it, I'll buy it. And I like to keep, with most whiskeys, like I like to keep one bottle on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe one backup bottle if it's harder to find. But I have sold my backup bottles when I'm like this last Christmas. I had a friend who was like, my husband just really loves Blanton's. And gosh,
that's what I do too.
You like whiskey? Do you know where I can find some? Well, actually, I've got a bottle,
and I'll give it to you what I paid for it.
I'll get you, except for this last person paid me extra, and yeah, which I did not ask for, but
just a tip.
But it was in the appreciation. Yeah, it was a tip.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things I'm like, yeah, I'll do that, and I don't mind that. And dump dates, I'll look for special dump dates. Like we got to talk about that Blanton's I just got, because that might be for you.
What was the dump date again?
Oh, it was something like your baptism date.
That's right.
It was close to it.
April 7th.
Yeah, it was close to that. Yeah. So anyway, there's stuff like that where I'm like, you know what? Like, if I find that, I might go after it. But
totally,
for the most part, I only have 2 bottles on my shelf where I have not opened them.
Yeah,
and like shared them with people. So
yeah,
I don't know. Drink the whiskey.
Which brings us to we'll show the results of last week's What Whiskey Would You Choose, but this week's whiskey is similar to what we're talking about here. But let's talk about last week's results.
Holy moly, Cole!
While I slow down my talking so Robbie can open his phone.
There. This whiskey was a beautiful terracotta.
We talked about, what did we talk? What was the
last week's was? I posted it yesterday.
I chose Weller Special Reserve.
You did. So this is, what whiskey are you giving to your sworn enemy?
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
We're doing show makes you want to drink what whiskey?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There we go. Cole went with, he watched Lost and needed to drown his sorrows. And apparently he drowns his sorrows in Weller Special Reserve.
Can't go wrong.
I was just saying, like, you know what? Like, when I watch shows like Goodfellas, movies, not shows, movies like Goodfellas, it makes me drink Cuddy Sark, little Cuddy and water. And I won. Cole got 31%.
That's surprising for Cuddy Sark versus Weller, but I get it. And I think it's because mostly I said Lost.
Well, no, I think a big part of it is we are thinking about like what makes you want to drink. I think we have a mature audience that knows the stakes of what whiskey would you choose here, and I won with 69%.
That's true. Nice. That's a big win.
It was a big win. Has some good write-ins. Marco KC, Parks and Rec, Lagavulin.
Yep.
Nailed it. Brian Rapp says, chill filtered, makes him want to drink. All of them.
My dog.
Brian Rapp. Oh, man. Andrew Loud and Clear, Jessica Jones, and Innie. She's got better taste than you think. And I read this and I was like, oh my gosh, watching Jessica Jones makes you want to not have any ties and just drink a whole bottle of whiskey and pass out at your desk and then use your superpowers later. I'm with you, Andrew.
I gotta watch this show.
You've never watched it?
No.
One of the scariest villains ever.
Really?
Honestly. Like if like and
what's
not
the show about?
The show's not scary, but the villain, when you really think about his like ability to be a villain and what he does, scariest thing ever.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like good villains.
It is
I like
good.
Good villains more like good guys sometimes. Most of the time.
You like good villains more like good fellas. That's why you lost, bro.
Yep.
All right.
Lost. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Shasiaro went with Mad Men and Old Fashioned and Peaky Blinders, something Irish. Nice. And then Bryce Morita, How I Met Your Mother, the fictional Glenn McKenna.
It's like watching Seinfeld and wanting to drink Hennigan's Scotch. HENNI.
I tried to. You sent me that this week, and I tried to.
I think
post
I did
it again. I couldn't figure out how to. I'm old. I couldn't figure out how to post the
old guy.
Yeah.
So this week.
Oh wait, we got one more.
Oh no, we got more.
And then this is what we don't hear from often, but it's J_OL_H. If the answer isn't Mad Men, it's wrong. And Mad Men should inspire you to any whiskey, just any. And I've never watched Mad Men. Have you ever watched Mad Men?
Never.
Okay, neither have I. And I feel
like it's John Hughes, right?
Is that John Hughes?
Yeah, that's his personal account.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How'd you know that?
Because I clicked on it earlier.
Are you? Oh, John friggin' Hughes.
Yeah, so check out his podcast. We say this all the time, but he's got a great podcast called Embellish Pod.
And so, like, I was watching his like live stream last night, and he was talking to a gal who authored a book called "Pour Me a Double."
Nice.
And John is like the what's his name? I just forgot. CNN. Old guy interviews
the
people.
Gray hair.
Yeah.
Anderson Cooper.
No.
He's not old though. He looks. His hair looks old, but he doesn't.
Oh my gosh. Now I feel never mind. We should probably move on because I'll yell it out. So Cole, what whiskey would you choose for this week?
So following from our article that we were reading for Whiskey World News, this week we want to find out, is there a bottle you're holding on to? There's nothing wrong with holding on to certain bottles as long as you're not it's all subjective, but I think that maybe you shouldn't just be trying to flip bottles. But maybe there's a bottle you're holding on to for some other reason. I want to hear why you're holding on to that specific bottle. So mine, I know this one pretty easily. I have 2 bottles of Eagle Rare on my shelf that have silver metallic Sharpie saying don't open until June 21st, 2041 or 2042 when my daughter turns 21. So I'm waiting on those ones. So
perfect. Larry King. John Hughes, I don't think it's CNN. I don't know what Larry King was on.
Whatever.
But John Hughes is the Larry King of whiskey.
He could be. He's a good. He's a good,
oh my gosh.
Interviewer.
Well, the gal he had on, it was very whiskey centric and focused, but not. And he did a great job. So anyway,
what a baller! Give me a moment, John.
Friggin' baller. So I only have 2 bottles on my shelf that are unopened. And it's my 2019 George T. Stagg.
Nice.
And I got lot 42? Cask
lot
strength.
40? You have a lot 40 cask?
Yeah. That we both do.
Jason Preston got us both?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What batch is it?
You have it too. We both bought one, and then he sent us samples so we didn't have to open them.
That's right. I think it was batch 2. Yeah.
Batch 2. So those are the 2 I have.
What a baller. Wait, give me a moment, seriously. Jason. What a
Jason
freaking
Preston
baller.
sent us so he's like, hey, I got these. Do you guys want them? We
Mhm.
both purchased them.
Yep.
And he sent us a sample so we didn't have to open them. So I haven't opened
Yeah.
them. So like right now, my George T. Stagg 2019 and my Lot 40 cast strength 2, those are
Yep.
going to the first two daughters' wedding. Whoever gets married first, it's probably
Nice.
George T. Stagg first, and the Lot 40. But that's what
Nice.
I'm saving.
I
So
hope I
I'll
can
probably
be there.
I'm gonna go. So would you went with your rare? I'll go with my George T. Stagg.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first child's wedding. So
I
that's
like
what
it.
we're drinking at. So
That's sweet.
yeah,
All
and
right.
that, my friends, is what you collect and you hold on to bottles for. Is for special events,
special occasions, and to
yeah.
share it with oodles of people when you do. You know,
Oodles. Oodles.
Oodles sighting.
John Oodles.
This
there
next
I
week,
just did.
we're gonna put it between two bourbons, and they're both barrel picks in this case. One is from Andrew Loudon of Andrew Loudon Clear, and the other one is from Sean Ciaro. We have a Blue Note uncut unfiltered barrel pick, and then we have a Maker's Mark barrel pick that is barrel finished FWGS, which is fine wine good spirits out of Pennsylvania. So I don't know the exact details on that barrel pick, but I will get them by the time we post it this week for Two Pick Tuesday. So keep an eye out.
All right. Well, are we done? Is that it?
I guess we're done.
This was fun.
I hope you have a good time in Cancun. I hope you're able to go to Cancun. If not, maybe it's a little bit of karma. No, I'm kidding. No, I really hope you're able to go.
And Cole, I hope that you're actually able to get into Stranger Things season 4.
Mm-hmm. And I hope that you love Dark and Peaky Blinders.
Oh my gosh. I hope that I actually have time to watch them when I'm with my children on a vacation. But most of all, listeners, I hope our love of spirits lifted yours.
Ooh, ah, 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 ah.